Hey.
All right. Hello, everybody. Again, here we are. Tony Alvarez from Keller Williams Hoover and Andy Gagliano from Gagliano Mortgage. How you doing, Andy, today?
I am well, Tony. How are you today?
Can't complain. It's a beautiful day today. The weather is
Man,
fantastic.
yes, it is. It is nice out there. It's almost, now this is just for me, it's almost getting too hot.
Yeah, it was too hot. I went to all the way to Pell City today to meeting with a developer, some projects that we have over there, and it
Yeah,
was like 78 degrees according to my car. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm not yet, please, not yet.
I know. It is still February. You're right. Yeah,
Exactly. But, this is Alabama, crazy weather over here.
it is, no doubt. Hey, I was in South Texas this past week, and it was 88 and 89 degrees 2 of the days I was there.
Holy Moses. Now, that's why I'm a good guy. I don't want to go to hell. I want to go to heaven because hell is too hot for me.
I love it. That's funny.
So, Andy, I was remembering a couple of years ago, I was working with this buyer. Great guy. He got a good credit. We got him a good product at the time. And in the process that we were looking at a house, he took a weekend off and took his family down to Florida. He went down to the beach over there. He used his credit card to put gas on his car. It was probably like $150. And when he came back, he paid it off.
Yeah.
So because he didn't have the cash, so he used that credit card. And because of that, his loan changed. The interest rate changed, the term changed, and that affected his credit score, I believe.
Yeah.
And just for $150,000 purchase. So when you are, as a consumer, you are looking for a house and you already talked to a lender and got the lender commitment, got pre-approval, why everybody advised not to use credit cards, not to get into new debt? Why is that, Andy?
Well, so you mentioned it in the story that you told. So when this buyer used his credit card, it causes his credit scores to, well, so it caused the balance on his card to go up, which caused the available amount of credit to be used on that credit card to go down, and that is a negative mark as far as the credit bureaus are concerned. And so, even though this buyer had not been late on a payment to that credit card, I'm assuming that score still went down because of the utilization of that card. So, what I try to recommend to our buyers when we're working with them in a pre approval situation is to say, hey, look, live your life like you would normally live it. If you charge things on a credit card every single month and then pay it off at the end of that month, that's good. That's fine. Don't change that, except I'd like to see you now pay that card once a week. Or even better, and this is, it doesn't sound like it's a lot, but it's a change of mindset for people, and we're creatures of habit, so sometimes hard for us to do this. What would it be even better than that, Tony, would be is if they paid the credit card balance daily. If they pay that balance down to zero daily, then what they're doing is that utilization, that available line of credit on that credit card never varies greatly. And that helps them keep their credit scores as high as possible.
Huh,
Yeah,
that's interesting, doing paying the balance daily. So you use it for $100, pay those $100.
correct. Yep.
Right. Now, with the credit card uses and everything, I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, please explain that a little bit also, is that don't pay it off. If you on the process already, don't bring that balance to zero because that can affect also your your credit score or your availability to get a mortgage.
Yes. So, credit cards are probably the biggest, I would say, negative mark against people for credit scores. And it is exactly what I said. A lot of those buyers will have very good credit scores and have never been late on those credit cards. But if the balances get to be too high on those cards, it can bring the scores down. So the scores are not as good as they could be with proper management of that card. So that's why we always have to really look at those cards and pay a lot of attention to them. And yes, you're right. This is all a factor of how much the high credit limit is on that card, that specific credit card. Let's say it's a $10,000 high credit limit on that card. That buyer wants to keep it if they have a balance on the card currently. Don't go and create a new charge on a card just so it'll have a balance. If you have a card that's had a zero balance for a long period of time, don't touch it. Just leave it as is. But for a card that has had a balance for a long period of time, don't pay it down to zero. If it's got a $10,000 credit limit, leave $100 outstanding on it. And next month when you get that credit card bill, it's going to say, hey, your minimum payment's $20. Pay the $20, pay that little bit of interest charge that they're going to charge you for the next month. And now your balance is at, $80 or $82 because you paid some interest.
Correct.
And then pay, the next $20 on it. But keep a little bit of a balance, and that amount of that balance is going to vary depending on how much that high credit limit is on that card. If it's say it's a secured credit card with a $500 balance, well, maybe somebody should only keep $20 to $50 outstanding on that card instead of paying it down to zero. But
Okay.
yes, and here's the thing. If I have a card that has a $10,000 credit limit on it and I owe $10,000 on it, that is worse than just paying that card down to zero for your credit scores. So if you've got the 10 grand, you can pay it down to zero. That's not the worst thing in the world. It would be better if you paid $9,900 on it instead of 10,000. But if you're just dead set to pay the 10,000 on it, pay the 10,000 on it and be okay with it. But heck, just
Yeah,
keep $100 outstanding if you can and just roll with it. Get those scores as high as you can. Hey, I'm working with somebody right now that has a 758 credit score. They're 2 points away from having a higher credit score, which gives them a better interest rate. And so we're working with them to get those 2 points because it can make 1/8% difference on an interest rate for a loan that we don't think they're going to keep it for 30 years, but they could.
Yeah, that's correct. One of the things also that I heard before is, and some of the financial gurus and why not, and I try to do the same, is keep your credit card debt no more than 30% of your credit limit. So if your credit limit is like $1,000, don't go over $300, especially if you are in the process to getting a mortgage.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good number to use. That I guess scoring calculation with the credit bureaus has changed a little bit. And now they kind of look at the total utilization of revolving credit instead of individual cards. But it's a good rule of thumb. That is a
Yeah,
very good rule of thumb.
I like that rule. I like it definitely. I apply it myself. That's what I
Yeah.
use. I try to not go over 30% of the credit card usage, and also anytime I can, if I spend $100, pay the $100.
Yeah.
Try to avoid a little bit the interest rate also.
That's right. That's
Especially
right.
now, the credit cards interest rate are ridiculous. I haven't seen anything lower than 18%.
Yeah, so I saw an article this past week where the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the CFPB, which is kind of the police force of the finance industry, they have stepped out and said, hey, credit card interest rates have never been higher than they are right now. And so, you know, try not to charge those cards up. And that's, you know, a lot of what I'm hearing right now is that that's how this economy is still rolling along very strongly, as people are using their credit cards and have the balances charged up on them,
Yeah,
which
that
means their scores are coming down.
yeah, that's crazy. But and I like also that you just mentioned right now that you're working with somebody, try to help them to get that 2% to get to the 800 on the credit score. So that's what people we do. We professionals like Andy, he knows the financial part. He knows how to help you to improve your credit score. And anytime you call him, anytime you talk to him, and we say this before, if you're not able to qualify right now because of the interest rate, if you follow a plan and you stick to that plan, you're going to be able to probably 3 months, 6 months, or a year, you're going to be able to put yourself inside a house, right?
That's right. That's
So
right.
that's something that you need to keep in mind. The professional people that you're working with, are they helping you? Are they laying out a plan to help you, or they're just telling you no, cannot be done, but they don't give you an explanation why?
Yeah. Yeah. That happens way too often. It really
Exactly.
does. It's sad, but it does.
Yeah, I've seen it, but that's why I always recommend you guys have any questions about mortgages, you have any question about interest rate or how the whole process works to apply for a mortgage, just give Andy a call. Andy, how they can contact you?
They can reach me at 205-979-4412, and I'm at extension 1. How about you,
Okay.
Tony?
Well, they can contact me, soon you get the pre-approval or approval letter from Andy, we're gonna go find that house and we'll find it. I promise you that. And you just need to call me, 205-370-3248. So that's all for this week, folks. Hoping to see you next week. Andy, I hope you get a very productive and a great week
You
coming
too,
forward,
Tony.
and enjoy the weather also.
I will do it. I hope you have a great week as well. Look forward to seeing you next week.
Yes, sir.
All
Have a
right.
good one, guys.
You too,
Thank
buddy.
you.
All right. Goodbye.
All righty.